Today is all about golf, and here we are down at Newark Golf Club, and we meet and talk to the local pro, Tom Bean. Tom, good morning.
Morning.
Now, how long have you been playing golf?
So I started playing when I was 14, 30 now, so 16 years I've been at it.
14, that's quite late though, isn't it?
Yeah, I was always into football as a kid, played for a few academy teams. My dad and my granddad got me into football, and then obviously got into golf from 14 years old. And from then, when I started golf, I was so bad, which bugged me, because I was always quite sporty as a kid and I was always pretty good. Took up golf and I was pants, and that bugged me. So I kind of had to get better at golf, and that's sort of where it all started for me, really, with the journey that I'm on right now.
And whereabouts are you on that journey now?
So playing national, regional, PGA events, playing a few little mini tour stuff, but at the minute I'm sort of playing and coaching, so I'm like full-time coach and then trying to play when I can, supplementing my playing with my coaching income. So that's sort of how I'm balancing it right now.
So let's just talk about that playing income and everything else, because people think that you guys actually earn fortunes. Do you?
The guys at the top do. The guys on the smaller tours and your local events, even some of your national events, the prize money is good. If you're at the top 3, 4, 5 places is good. But then after that, the money depreciates quite quick. It's quite heavily stacked in terms of like the top 5 places, and then after that, the money depreciates quite quickly.
Really?
Yeah. So it's kind of hard work for guys like me when you play in smaller events, and everyone's good these days, so everyone can win.
Is it really that competitive?
Yeah, it really is.
And do you think that's attributed to starting the kids off at such a young age?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that obviously golf's in the public eye a lot more probably now than it was before. It's frequently shown on TV.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are watching it on TV, seeing the fortunes that those guys are making, and kind of going down that route to earn big bucks.
Yeah, right.
You kind of have to start at the beginning. So obviously you've got your local stuff, and there's thousands of local pros, and then obviously you move up and you keep moving up, and if you're good enough, then you end up, right at the top.
Now, you mentioned there when you're good enough. How do you know when you're good enough?
Just from playing in events and winning events. So, if you was playing and you maybe won a dozen times in a year, you might start backing yourself to enter bigger events. But obviously, there's more risk with that. So, your smaller events, they're smaller entry fees but smaller prize money, and then you can play bigger events. You pay a little more, but you can win a little more. And then obviously, if you think that you can compete with the best players, then you go to Q School, which is at the end of the year. You pay and you go and you see how you fare, and a lot of guys are doing that now just to sort of see where they are in the game.
Right.
Even if they don't feel like they're going to qualify, they'll still go and sort of see where they are.
What type of money are we talking about, for the entry fees and everything else?
Smaller tours, even your mini tours. I mean, Euro Pro's just finished, but you're probably between 15 and 20 grand to fund a season.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and that's obviously on your smaller tours.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of money involved, and obviously if you're missing cuts, you don't make anything. So
yeah,
a lot of the guys have sponsorships or friends and family that can help them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're trying to fund it yourself, it becomes quite difficult.
Right. Have you got any form of funding, sponsorship, or anything that comes through?
Yeah. So in terms of monetary value, not massively. I have friends and family that help me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm super lucky with Wilson. They look after me with my golf clubs. And then obviously Code, they look after my training, so I'm super lucky with them as well, and obviously the help that Luke's given me has been fantastic.
Yeah.
But in terms of monetary funding, not masses, get helped out here and there, but certainly not enough where I could pack up work and play full time.
Right.
Which is obviously the guys that are doing well, that's kind of what they're doing. They're playing 8-9 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah, because that's how competitive it is.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, there's other guys out there that are, and if your goals are to be one of the best players in the world. You know, that's ultimately where you need to be with it.
Well, what's your next step? What's ready for you?
So, for me, it's always been about improvement. I always just try and get better and better with every season. I feel like I'm actively trying to get better all the time. I try and seek out knowledgeable people. But ultimately, in terms of my playing, it's based around my coaching. So, I will have a lot of long days. If I'm training, then coaching all day, and then I've got to make time for my own practice.
Right.
So it kind of works out that some days, especially through the winter, I'm a bit quieter with my coaching, so I can play a little more. As soon as we get into this time of year, things start to ramp up for me.
Well, when that good weather comes out, I can imagine they're all down here, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So it gets quite tricky, but I don't mind it. It's a path that I've chose. So
right. So when that day comes and you go like, oh, there's a great tour I want to go on or whatever, you know, what does everybody think?
Nothing really. I mean, I've been quite lucky really that all the people that I speak to about things like that are super supportive.
Good.
And I'm quite sort of selective with the people that I speak to those things about, because I think sometimes you can get the wrong people in your ear and it kind of gives you a step backwards. But no, all the people that I speak about are super supportive. My clients are supportive, and I'm super lucky with my clients as well. A lot of them are super flexible, so if something crops up last minute and I want to go and play an event, I'm lucky in the fact that I can rearrange lessons to go and play. But ultimately, it just comes down to the funding. And like me, if you're working full time to fund your golf, your work comes before your golf.
End of,
But then you have to make the effort to try and improve if that's what your goals are.
So do you think you'll ever go full pro?
What? Sorry.
Do you think you'll ever go full pro? That's it. Golf.
Live it. That's the dream.
Breathe it.
That's the dream. Yeah, that's the dream. But there's thousands of kids, hundreds of thousands of kids that's the dream. So it's sort of like, what are you doing different, right?
Well, what are you doing different?
Well, I feel like my age helps me. I think sometimes, you see kids sort of 18 to 21, they're doing it full time. But I feel like the knowledge that I've gained, for me, even if I was the standard of golfer that I am now at 21, I wouldn't be as well-rounded, if that makes sense. Because I haven't had time to develop and learn the things that I've needed to learn.
Right.
And teaching people helps that as well. Sometimes clients will say things that resonate with you and you think, oh, maybe I'm making the same mistakes as that, regardless of standard. So I've learned a lot about my own game from coaching other people, which has helped me a lot. But, golf, it's not like football where, if you're not at the top by mid-20s, you're going to have a tough time.
No, right.
There's guys that don't get to peak until they're 50 and, then they start playing on the seniors tour and you make a great living. So for me, it's always just sort of having a bit of faith and just keep trying to do the right things, trying to improve. And then just sort of trusting the process more than anything else. I feel like if I just keep trying to get better, ultimately, I've got nothing to lose by trying to keep getting better. Just see where it takes me, really.
Sure. Now, how long have you been here down at Newark?
So I joined here as a member in, a bit of a guess, but I'm going to guess around 2010, so 10 years ago. I got offered the assistant's job at early 2019. So I started working here May 2019 and turned pro in September 2019.
Oh, right.
Started my training in October 2019. So I had sort of the first 5 months of training and then COVID hit. So that put a stop to everything pretty much.
What did the training involve?
The training involves all sorts. So the training sort of equips you with the tools to be involved in golf. And that's quite broad, right? So it's like I could have gone into golf club management, I could have gone into being just a club pro that runs a shop, I could go into being a golf coach. It opens a lot of doors. Obviously the PGA is recognised worldwide, so it's something that's good to have on your CV. Yeah. And ultimately, if you want to be recognised as a golf coach, really, you kind of need to go through the PGA, training scheme. Right. So that was a decision that I made. I thought that it would be the right thing to do for me.
It's a pretty good move, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a shame that it got disrupted a lot with COVID. Yeah. But it is what it is, you know. And
Hasn't affected you in any way?
No, not really. Obviously, we had the lockdown, which affected our first year exams, and then all the training after that with regards to in-person assessments. They were a little different than years gone by, but they still obviously did the course for us and,
right.
and made adaptations, and it worked okay. But obviously it's different. It's different than everyone else. So advice that I'd got from other people who'd done it previous, you just throw it out the window because it's not the same now.
Yeah, get rid.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it? What on earth was he talking about? Yeah,
it's quite the same for me.
Right. Okay. What's the first thing a novice should know
About golf?
about golf?
I would say that the most common misconception that I get from clients who come in who've not played golf before is that they need to hit the ball up in the air, and that's not the case. You hit down, the ball goes up. That's why there's loft on the golf clubs. And I would say sometimes that's probably been the biggest light bulb moment for a lot of my clients when they come to me brand new to golf, is that they're actually trying to hit the ball in the air. You can't do that because you won't hit it in the air. And I think when they understand that they're actually trying to hit the ball then the ground, so downward angle of attack, the ball goes up in the air, and then we work from there. Strike has to come first. So I'd say that's
always. Always.
Yeah.
Right. Why don't you show us what you mean?
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, so what I'm talking about is a lot of players, what they actually try to do is they try to feel like they're going to sort of scoop the ball in the air to try and help it up. But what will actually happen if you try to do that is you hit the ground first, you hit the ball halfway up, and it sort of just dribbles along the ground. So what you're actually trying to achieve, if I hit one down the range, is I'm trying to make contact with the ground somewhere probably 2 to 3 inches ahead of the golf ball. So I'm going to hit the ball, then hit the ground, and then I'll be out the ground. So I'll try and ball, then ground, and then I'm up. So I'm going to show you that again, but I'm going to show you in slow motion.
So what was it you were doing there? Because I mean, it looked like, and I know it's still fast, yeah, even though we slowed it down. But in my eyes, you were going right down to the mat and flicking up. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, for me, I don't think about it an awful lot because I've probably been doing it for a long time, right? But for beginner golfers, I think just the idea of just trying to hit the ball down into the mat helps. Because the way these golf clubs are designed, right, is that if I lean the handle, there's still quite a lot of loft to get the ball in the air. So if I lean the handle that way, the club's still travelling down, so it hits the ball, then the mat, but there's still enough loft to get the ball up in the air.
Right.
There's a happy medium between too much down and not enough down, but that's like a skill development thing that, you know, people need to be around the game for a long time to get better at.
Right.
It comes from practice.
That's what it's about, though, isn't it?
100%.
Practice,
yeah.
practice.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where without practice, you're going to have a tough time getting better.
Yeah. All right, well, if that's the first thing that they would learn, yeah, what would be the second thing?
I would say that strike comes first, and then awareness of where the club points would be number 2. And when I say awareness of where the club points, if that's pointing at you, and I make great contact, but it's pointing over there, well, the ball reacts to where the club points. So I'll have people right at the beginning of their journey who I'll ask them what the problems are, and they'll say that it's strike. And then as people get better and better along their journey, the most common thing is usually direction. Because they've had enough practice to learn strike, so they're hitting more down, but they're not aware of where this thing's pointing through the swing. So ultimately, if you can control strike and then control where this points, you hit a lot of shots close to target.
Do you want to show us?
Sure.
Let's show us again.
Yeah, sure.
Now, you mentioned that practice is very, very important.
Absolutely, I did.
Okay, right. So, for anyone who's serious, or actually would just like to come down and have a go,
Yeah.
you know, what would they need to do?
I think most golf clubs or driving ranges will have golf clubs that you can borrow for an odd session here or there. But obviously, if you're serious about wanting to take up the game, first thing to grab is like a half set of golf clubs, maybe 3 or 4 irons. If you get a driver or a 3-wood, that's good. Don't need to be mega expensive. Look second hand if you can. But then, if you've got a driving range near you, then you can obviously go there and pay for balls. Newark Golf Club here is open for non-members. So if anyone wants to come here and hit balls, they can do. Just go into the pro shop, grab yourself a token, pay for your range balls, and come and hit a few.
See, we never knew that.
Yeah, so a lot of the I think sometimes when you come to a private members club, the gate when people get to the front, it intimidates people.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah, so they call now, let's not go through there. But obviously it's on the website as well. The range is open for non-members.
Yeah.
So anyone who's local to Newark Golf Club can come down here, hit some balls. Like I said.
What's the? Do you know the web address?
Yeah, I think it's. I assume that it's newarkgolfclub.co.uk.
Okay, and then what do they do? They just go on there and go into like what? Does it say shop or? Book?
Yeah, there's nothing really that you need to go to the website for.
Right.
Mainly if you're trying to find us.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, if you just come up here, make your way around to the pro shop, grab yourself some tokens for range balls. Obviously, the guys in the shop will help you out, and then come on here and hit some balls.
Okay. What about private lessons?
So private lessons, obviously I offer that service. My online booking system is through all of my social media channels. I can stick a link obviously in this video for people to click through direct.
All right, we'll do that. But do you know them off the top of your head?
I don't know my own. I have a link to it.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, so I don't have my own website, but I have my own booking system.
Right, okay.
So I just have a link through to my online booking system.
All right. Well, we'll do that and we'll give them that, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I think, like you say, at the end of the day, it is invaluable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what would be the first thing you're going to teach them?
First thing, strike. So first thing in terms of making contact would be strike. But a lot of times grip and posture, how to stand, where the ball goes in your feet. Obviously there's a lot to know for the first couple of sessions.
Yeah.
And then obviously making contact with the ball and then awareness of where the club points.
Right.
So maybe takes a few lessons to get going.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's a very rewarding game when you get into it properly.
Tom, thank you very much for the time this morning.
You're very welcome.
I shall let you go and eat your balls.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.